Malaysia's digital journey began more than 2 decades ago when MSC Malaysia was set up to transform the country into a knowledge-based economy. Since then, MSC Malaysia has contributed immensely towards the growth of the nation's digital. Our next step is to take the digital transformation from the corridor to the world. Introducing Malaysia Digital, a strategic initiative which will empower the rakyat, businesses and foreign investments. Malaysia Digital will also elevate the participation of Malaysians and local businesses in revolutionizing the world's digital economy. Malaysia Digital opens doors for Malaysians by providing equitable access to digital tools, knowledge and income opportunities. It offers new business opportunities and growth through a supportive digital ecosystem. It also provides flexible and agile investment facilitation to make the country investment friendly. The goal is to drive the digital ecosystem and develop the digital economy to a stage where it contributes at least 25.5% of our GDP and creates 500,000 jobs by 2025.
Malaysia Digital will galvanize public-private partnerships to accelerate the growth of our digital economy and drive positive transformation that ultimately benefit the rakyat, businesses, investors, and also the whole nation.
Establishing Malaysia into a digital nation, one with more adept, stronger and resilient economy, society and governance. Stepping into tomorrow's digital future today.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam perpaduan, salam Malaysia Madani. I'm pleased to share a groundbreaking initiative that is shaping the future of our nation, the National Data Sharing Policy or NDSP. In 2022, the government launched the NDSP, a visionary policy that transcends boundaries, encompassing the public sector, the private sector, and the rakyat. This policy holds the key to fostering a data sharing environment that is not only conducive but transformative. It aims to unleash the true potential of data, improve the quality and transparency of service delivery, stimulate innovation, and drive economic growth through data-driven solutions. The formulation of NDSP envisions a nation where data knows no bounds, where its accessibility and usability are at the core of our digital landscape. By actively engaging in this endeavor, we are laying a strong foundation for the next evolution of our digital ecosystem. We're embarking on a journey to build a stronger and more secure digital foundation for Malaysia. It is the keystone of our digital transformation agenda, empowering us to become a more inclusive, resilient, sustainable, and forward-thinking nation. Embracing responsible and ethical data sharing will unlock significant value for our society and economy, enhancing our competitiveness on the global stage. I encourage all of you to support this policy and explore the vast opportunities that data sharing presents. To raise awareness and gather valuable feedback, we have initiated the NDSP series, a collaborative effort by the Malaysia Digital Economy Corporation or MDEC, Malaysia Kini, and Digital News Asia or DNA, with the support of the Ministry of Communications and Digital. This series aims to educate the public about the benefits and challenges of data sharing, while gathering opinions and suggestions to enhance the policy and its implementation. Your active participation in these discussions will be instrumental in shaping the data sharing practices in Malaysia, leading us towards a secure and dynamic digital world. and let us embark on this remarkable journey together.
Shared value from our data, the how. So first of all, I'd like to invite Dr. Karl from MDEC to give his opening remarks.
Okay, a very good afternoon to all of you. Salam perpaduan and salam Malaysia Madani. A warm welcome to everyone as we gather here today for the grand final for our extraordinary data sharing journey. So today is our NDSP, National Data Sharing Series number 9, and the topic for today is creating shared value from our data, the how. This event is a collaborative arrangement between MDEC, Malaysia Kini and Digital News Asia with the support of Ministry of Communications and Digital in promoting the National Data Sharing Policy, which was launched in 2002. The NDSP fosters a transformative data sharing environment, unlocking data potential for better services, innovation, and economic growth of our country. Ladies and gentlemen, in an age defined by information and connectivity, significance of data sharing cannot be overstated, right? The fundamental of a lot of our digital platforms are data. And it's a testament to our collective belief in the transformative potential of information when it's open, accessible, and utilized for greater good. Today, we come together to recognize not just the end of the final event of NDSP, but more importantly, the beginning of a new era, a time that we explore profound concept of creating shared value through data sharing and understanding the value of collaboration and its impact it can have on shaping the better future, right? You know, I think we have heard about sharing is caring, right? So, you know, I think when you share something with someone, you know, you want to you know, you basically have the common shared value, right? You want to help people and you care for the people, right? So I think, but in the concept of data sharing, I mean, in order for you to share the data, you need to have a common shared belief, right? So if you're someone that are very close, you don't like to share, you know, that and it gets reflected in the organizations that you become a leader, right? So everything you don't want to share, right? But that's not the way how the world works today, right? Today, world works on collaboration, and the more data that you share, the more data that you have, you're able to get better value from the data, right? So it's important that we leverage on collaborative exchange of data so that you're able to simulate greater economic value for the businesses and also to address societal challenges. So it basically goes beyond the traditional view of CSR, right? So you don't do CSR because, you know, you want to look good in front of the public and so forth, because, you know, you want to be able to actively contribute to the societal well-being by sharing the data that you have that may benefit them. By extracting meaningful information from shared data, organizations can gain a competitive edge, innovate more effectively, and create economic value for shareholders. Businesses can collaborate in the shared environmental data to identify and implement more sustainable practices, reduce their ecological footprint, and contribute to broader environment conservation effort. Creating value through data sharing emphasizes the importance of ethical as well as responsible data management. This involves ensuring data privacy, security, and transparency by adopting ethical practices. And by doing so, businesses can build trust among their stakeholders and demonstrate a commitment for great responsible data sharing. In conclusion, data has the power to improve the world, but we need to make sure that responsible use is a key and is a must. NDSP initiative is a vital initiative to position Malaysia as a digital leader. Together, we have not only shared data, but have created a legacy of shared value that will resonate far beyond the confines of today's initiative. Thank you for all your dedication, your passion, and your contribution to making all the 9 NDSP series a success. I wish all of you and all the best in learning more about the data sharing, and also to learn more from a panelist from today's final event of NDSP. With that, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Karl. Now we'll begin our panel session. But before we begin our panel session, I will invite you to silence your phones so that there is no rings or notification sounds throughout the whole panel session. So now I'd like to invite our panelists for today. The session will be moderated by Karamjit Singh from Digital News Asia. We also have Puan Sabariah from CyberSecurity Malaysia, Dr. Karl from MDEC, as well as Encik Husni from the Ministry of Communications. Let's welcome them, and Karam, the floor is yours.
Hello. Okay, there you go. Wrong press. Okay. Not wrong, long press. Okay, thank you very much everyone for making time to come. Okay, very good. Panelists are all seated. I think like Karl said, right, when he ended, he said we want to learn from the panelists, but they're here also to learn from you. And we find, you know, I think they always say that you can absorb something best when you're teaching it, right, to others. And here we actually learn a lot more from the kind of questions asked by the audience. And actually in this panel 9, even looking at those of you who have already beforehand shared your questions, there are still so many questions around what is data, right? What is data? And then these are very basic questions, but they are no less important than the more sophisticated questions. And you know, to give the background to how this series even started, this national data sharing policy, and for those who are watching online, excuse me if I'm repeating something that you've heard before, but this was actually a policy that was approved by the previous cabinet under Sabariah. And when this current government came in, they said, hey, this is a good policy, we want to support it. So when you say, okay, you know, support it how, right? It's so new, national data sharing, not data protection. So then they, of course, then because it's around data, the Ministry of Communication and Digital, right, before it was split up. And let's not have any questions about that because nobody will be answering that, right? So, but you know, then it was under Fahmi, then entrusted, obviously, right? Hey, MDEC, you guys know this stuff, right? Okay. And then MDEC asked Malaysia Kini and DNA to partner to come up with a number of episodes, right? So we came up with 9 topics, and today is the last one for this year. And the one common thing we've been hearing post-event also is that people say, hey, you should carry on with this some more. And I think there are plans for MDEC to do it again next year with some other partners. That'll be fantastic. But now for here and now, so we've got people who are watching online and people who have come. So I'm going to be biased here, like I've said before many times, when you have a hybrid event, we're going to prioritize questions from the floor for those who have come here because they've made the extra effort to come here. But for all of you watching at home or here, thank you for the privilege of your time first. And now we're going to get started with the questions. And actually, the first question is actually, so both Sabariah and Dr. Karl have chosen to answer this question. So Sabariah gets to answer the question first as the rose among the thorns. And it's simply about how to prevent the abuse and misuse of data. So there are no right or wrong answers. Sabariah, just share your thoughts and Dr. Karl will jump in.
All right. Good afternoon to everybody. So this question is come back to the fundamentals, where we say that how we can prevent the misuse of this data. It has to be the number one. You need to have the governance. Yeah, the governance of data management is where it tells how we collect the data, how we use the data, how to store the data, okay? Because in every process, it involves the data where it flow from one process to another process, okay? And every process has its own risk that we need to address, okay? So to do that also, we need also to look into what are the particular risks, yeah, that involve in this every process that we involve in. So that risk can come to the people who manage that, who handle the data itself, the technology that we use, yeah, because we have the smart device, we have the sophisticated tools that process the data, okay? And also not to forget that the procedures, yeah, the process governance itself. If we have a poor governance, no matter technology, how sophisticated technology that we have there, it actually contribute to the misuse, yeah, or abuse of data. So come back to that, we look into the, I already touched on the governance, yeah. We have to have the policies and procedures to be adhered with, okay. That also include the access controls, has to be a role-based that link to, associate to the job specification, meaning that not anybody can access to that information, yeah. Okay, and as I mentioned just now, I touched also on the technology use, yep. Okay. So we have the smart device that collect the data, capable of the collect data and process the data, and it goes to the applications. So who actually handle this thing? Behind it is the people itself. Right. Okay. So we need to know that how much data that we need in order to us to proceed with the process. It has to be proportionate with the need to know basis or need to process based on your legal purpose. All right. So in this case, you can apply any de-identification technique. Yeah. For example, like data maskings, pseudonymizations, where any data is not necessary that you will be access to every details of it. Just sufficient for you to proceed the process. Some of the data is meant for the statistic purposes. Correct. Right? So only certain information, not necessary your background, your data, it can be just a gender, your preference, that's all for you to produce the statistics. So there is a de-identification technique you can apply in this process. Okay, there are many other things like normal physical security, and then humans. Yeah, the weakest link in this process is in the cybersecurity is the peoples. Always. Yeah? All right. So awareness is also crucial. Okay, not only to the people who really work directly to the data, but also everybody, because when the technology evolve, even the unethical person also learn from that. Okay, so when they want to launch the attack, they not directly go to the key people. It can be from the anybody. It can be from the front desk people. Yeah, as long as they can see the loophole there where they can launch, yeah, their attack. This is talking about social engineering, yeah, phishing in the emails. So this is awareness that has to be cultivated, yeah, in the organization, in the agencies, yeah, even the government itself, right? Okay, and what more? The training, yeah, because we want to make sure that the person who in charge of managing or handling the data has the right competency, yeah. We want this is to prevent of the negligence or human error, because human error also can lead to the abusing or misuse of the data. Okay, so bottom line is it involves not only the technology that we use, but also the process itself, the governance, the peoples. Okay, everything is interrelated to ensure that we can prevent the abuse or misuse of the data.
Okay. Thanks, Sabariah, for the extensive explanation. By the way, folks, I know some of you would not understand when she mentioned anonymizing and data masking, and you can ask her after that if somebody, or I advise you just on your phone, just quickly type in the word, right? And you can search for it later also, because it is unavoidable that there will be some terms that they use that you may say, hey, I've not heard of that before, right? So just be aware of that and just, type in that term quickly, right? And we're all used to multitasking, so not too much of an ask of you all. Okay, now, by the way, when I was having my pre-event conversation with Sabariah, something struck me that I was shocked because I didn't know. As a tech journalist, to my embarrassment, I didn't know. It's something I should know, but I'm thinking, hey, if I don't know, I'm sure almost everyone out there doesn't know about the actual role and responsibility of cybersecurity in Malaysia. Because the word Malaysia in their name makes it think like they're the cybersecurity expert for the country. So, Sabariah, please clarify that misconception.
All right. CyberSecurity Malaysia, we are the technical agencies where we provide the services specialized in the cybersecurity. So we have the response, cybersecurity response services. We have the cybersecurity proactive services. Example that MyCert. And when you have the problem with phishing, fraud, where you call Cyber 999. So it's a services under CyberSecurity Malaysia. So other than that, we also have a strategic study and also engagement, and also we also have our research and also industry development. This is to ensure that we can provide advice, assistance, advisory in order to safeguard our cybersecurity.
Very good, thank you so much. Okay, Karl, I think Sabariah has given quite a lengthy explanation, but is there anything that you would like to add to what she has said, or elaborate further that you think is worthwhile for the audience, and here and at home?
Okay, I think
here and at the office or at home. Unless you're working from home, then it's 2 in 1.
So I think maybe I can just summarize what Sabariah said, right? So I think, in managing data, it's like managing a currency, right? Your money, right? So when you're looking at money, managing money perspective, there's a lot of procedures. There's a governing authority, Bank Negara, and so forth, looking into all this, right? There's audit process and so forth, right? It's very lengthy to make sure that the proper governance and proper use, right? Similarly, I think, eventually data you need to go through that path, right? So like any form of, you need to provide proper governance. So then you need to look at people, you look at the process, you need to look at the policy, and also the technology to enable all this, right? So I think what Sabariah has described is basically processes to make sure that we have a robust and secure solution and system, making sure that everyone is aligned, right, and equipped to handle data, right? I think what is lacking, another thing is important, is also ethical consideration of data, right? In when you look at the money, right? So if you misuse the money or you're doing money laundering, etc., right? You get penalized, right? So in the area of data, right? I think you need to consider some of these things as well, right?
Hey man, Dr. Karl wants to send you to jail, man. If you mess with people's data.
Yeah. No, I mean, you will start with an ethical consideration, like ethics first, making sure everyone follows, right? Eventually, if this becomes a real concern, everyone is well aware of this, then you need to look at regulations, not just private data, but a lot of different data.
Very good. Thanks, Dr. Karl. So for Husni, I've got a different question from you. So by the way, the questions that we are answering have all been picked by the audience, right? So a lot of you have sent a lot of questions, in advance, and the reason is because if somebody has made the time to register and has put in a question, it's obviously because they're curious, they're concerned, or they just want to clarify a misconception they may have. And I give you one quick example. one of the questions that was from the last session, episode 8, somebody is saying that, hey, why are we talking about all this when property developers are selling our data, and everyone, all, agents all have their data. So I happened to call the CEO of a property company and I said, hey, is this going on? And he said, absolutely not, for two reasons. One was that, his customers' data is his treasure. He's not going to sell it to an agent because he doesn't know if that agent is going to decide to sell it to some other agents also. So he said, I'll never do that because it's valuable when it's only my data. And the second thing is, he actually mentioned the PDPA, which is the question that I think Husni has taken. He said, we're going to be in a lot of trouble if we do that because we're going to violate the PDPA. And I know a lot of people, Malaysians, will say that, this is Malaysia, who cares about the PDA? Nobody has heard of it, or it's not mentioned much by politicians and over, right? And it's like it's almost like at the periphery of all conversations. And so, but imagine, but business owners honestly take it seriously because they'll be liable then. So having said that now, and that was a question that was a misconception example. And by the way, in the last session, during the panel on the audience on the ground with us, right? There were actually no questions, but there were comments, and some of the comments were very hardcore hitting, So, hopefully we'll have gentler comments from you all, but I don't know, but it's up to you all. But we want to keep the comments to a minimum and questions more, because then everybody can learn from the answers. So Husni, you choose to take this question about the PDPA, especially around the question of it's being updated, right? So what's the deal with that?
Okay, before updating you guys about the status, I just want to put it in context first, just to elaborate further about the NDSP. Yes, right, the policy was adopted by the cabinet April last year, if I'm not mistaken, and in October 2022, it was also accepted by the national, the Malaysian Digital Economy Council, as together with previously in the government sectors, we have circulars, data sharing circulars under Mampu to facilitate data sharing among government ministries and agencies. Okay. Previously, we also have other initiatives like the National Open Data and Big Data Analytics. So this is to bring it further. So according to that decision, the NDSP, the National Data Sharing Policy, and the DPDSAO, or the National Public Sector Data Sharing Policy, would be the interim framework in the process of the government establishing an omnibus data sharing act. This is a game changer, hopefully, yeah. Hopefully, because the government is looking to supersede, instead of doing individual amendments to federal and state acts to facilitate data sharing. They are looking to do it omnibus style, legally, doing it one time to amend specific provision in more than 800 acts.
Wow, seriously?
So this is coming next year. I'm part of the project management team.
Very good. So by the way, just to clarify, so the omnibus is important because then it'll supersede any other existing. So if suddenly you're in a local council or you're in a mayor, like Penang, you've got Penang as a city, right? Somebody will say, hey, no, we have our own policy to follow. No, this one, regulation when it comes about will supersede all, which is fantastic for harmonization and creating value from the data, right?
Okay. Because we have, especially back then in the 1970s with the OSA,
Correct.
The Cold War period where you have to protect the national data from espionage and things like that. But now we are talking about driving the digital economy forward.
Yep.
So this is the new thinking, and the government is also working on developing Freedom of Information Act, which is interrelated, hand in hand. The Legal Affairs Division of the Prime Minister's Department is looking into this. So just like OECD countries, whereby they have information commissioner, Oftentimes, like in Australia and in the UK, the Information Commissioner is also the same post of the person who will be in charge of protecting personal data. Yeah. So it's coming next year. It will be an exciting year, and hence the split. This is interrelated. Actually, that it is not something new. I was Webby Gobin's KPI officer back then in 2018.
Oh, okay. Oh, I didn't know that.
Actually, the initial idea already came up those days. You know, how to integrate related agencies responsible for digital transformation and also digital economy under one ministry. So it finally materialized. So it's good. Looking forward, right? So also the government is also coming up with the National CyberSecurity Act under DAXA. Yeah, also next year. Yeah, the timeline somewhere in October. But yeah, how many acts? Four, right? But specific to the PDPA, the ministry has been working on sesi libat urus or engagement with the industrial players and interested parties throughout the year. Hundreds of engagements.
Wow.
YB Fahmi has appointed Professor Nazri from academic background and also several key several key personnel with industrial background in key positions. So he's serious about this, looking at the technical aspect to enhance data governance, particularly, for example, if I can still remember, one of the provision would also consider the requirement to appoint a data protection officer and procedure for notification of data breach, for example, which is important in order to establish a safe and secure data sharing environment and ecosystem. So looking at the timeline, actually the timeline initially was within this year.
Within this year.
The final parliamentary session. But the minister instructed JPDP to look into several other areas and to increase the number of engagements. So currently, we are looking at the first quarter next year for it to be tabled in Parliament. Thank you.
Yeah, looking forward to that. Exciting, right? And empowering also together with the Freedom of Information Act, right? So that shows the seriousness, and that's global best practices. I think we've got a data expert here from a leading legal practice. So I won't single him out, but he also can tell you that's good best practices. So okay, we'll move on now to another question, which is and Sabariah, right? So interesting that I'm glad you wanted to take this. So this question from somebody said that if my data is breached, him as an individual, right, and from breached by somebody has breached the government, but it's his data. Are we efficient enough, to address it in a timely manner? And if you were here last week for episode 8, not episode 7, there was a gentleman in the audience who shared a personal story about how his banking app was breached and he lost a lot of money. I mean, that was a very sobering moment. You say, wow, this is real thing, man. Lost a lot of money, and brave enough for him to come, and he was not angry or emotional, but just said, who is on my side when that happens? So in a way, this is kind of that kind of question. Sabariah, over to you. Oh, you can. I'm still on it.
All right. There's no definite answer to say are we efficient, but what we can say that what's the factor that should we consider to ensure that we are ready if incident or cybersecurity do happens. All right. So we must always be a proactive before reactive. Okay, must have a planning in place, right? Business continuity planning or the preparedness of the facing these incidents, right? To do so, of course, we need to know what are the risks that we are facing. So we have first to identify that through conducting risk assessments and also vulnerability assessments. Remember that I mentioned that data sharings, all this data involve the process, involve the technology, involve the people. So we have to look in all angles that what are the possible risks in managing this data. Yeah. One more we say data sharing where it integrate from one system to another systems. Yeah. So we have to look into the loopholes so that we can reduce the vulnerabilities and we can implement the countermeasure to reduce or to minimize the potential risks. Okay, so if let's say incident 2 happens, do we have the response team in place, right? So, but before that, what are the alert system that we have to alarm us? So we need to have the detections or monitoring system in place to warn us before the incident become serious. So this is a mechanism also to have to be in place as well. It's a part of the proactive or preventive measure. Okay, so come back to the I mentioned just now on the response team. So yeah, do we have that the right structured in responding to these incidents? You have some of the agency. We need to have like a incident organization structure, incident response team, where you have a decision making, you have the technical people in place, right? And you also have the legal people that can advise if there is a legal matter involved. And in fact, we also have the PDPA, Personal Data Protection Act is coming, okay, where soon we foresee that there is an appointment of data protection officer, okay, and one of the roles is to respond if there is other data breach that may involve personal data. So this person also has to be in this response team for the decisions making. So we have the technical people who actually look into containing the damages, right, preventions, but we also have the management teams to look into other matters that actually to protect, in terms of the legals, in terms of the regulation requirements in place. Okay, so this is a preparedness, the preparedness, and the ongoing process is on the monitorings in place. Okay, and then you have the another part is very important also, the communication channels, internet and externals, right? Communications during the business as usual, where if you have the risk monitoring, you need to also communicate if there is a risk indicator, all right, that has to we have to alert, okay, on the possibilities, okay, and also if there is incident happens, do we have the right communication channels to report to our stakeholders, to inform our stakeholders, okay, and also it has to be transparent to ensure that the trust is there in place, right? And this is also part that has to be in place when we want to see part of the effectiveness of this managing the cyber incidents. Okay, there are other parts there where if the incident happens, we mitigate that. We have all the expertise, all the technical technology in place. After that incident, we need also to have a post analysis to identify, what went wrong, what the root cause of this cyber incident happens, and also what are the lessons learned so that we can avoid from recurrence. And again, risk is actually evolved. We have to be proactive to adapt to this evolvement of this technology that come together with the risk. So bottom line, we have to be ever ready.
I think when you talk about we have to be ready, the technology is evolving. I think the last time also I asked the audience, don't ask questions around AI because it is so incredible and so fast and so scary that nobody has got the answers yet. We're still grappling, right? It just blows your mind if somebody starts asking, hey, but AI can do this or can do that. So what is the government doing? We gotta trust them. That I think Fahmi has gotten a lot of criticism from the public, right, from family also and friends, that the response of the government, right, from any data breaches has been nowhere near good enough. Any agency within the government, right? So almost always you have to wait for a tech-savvy user on Twitter to put say, I think there's been a data breach here or there, and then the agency will react like 12 hours later. Nowhere near good enough. So hopefully with the version 2 of the PD, and I think Husni is nodding, yeah, they will definitely tighten that also in the communication channels. But Dr. Karl, now you've taken the next question. Okay, sorry, I don't know where the feedback is coming from. One second, I'll get to you. Then there's Diana. There's a question from the floor, and then I'll let Dr. Karl answer, and then can ask you to. Okay, 2 quick questions. Okay, hold on. Dr. Karl, you wanted to take a question about how to prevent the abuse and misuse of data so that Fahmi doesn't get hit on him.
It takes two to tango. So number one, it's the potential users, victim themselves. They need to be aware of, potential data breach,
okay,
potential scams and so forth, right? So creating awareness is key, right? Number two, it's also, for businesses as well, right? Because I think lately also I get, the calls are so rampant right now. I don't dare to take my phone calls now. Wow. Right? Because they will claim that you're from where, and then they ask you to do certain things and so forth. There's no way.
Apparently, I have a UOB Platinum card. I have no idea when I even walked into a UOB branch.
Yeah. So I think there's also the businesses themselves needs to build trust, right? Unfortunately, I think you only answer calls from numbers that are familiar to us these days. All unknown calls, most of the time I don't answer, right?
Wow.
I'm sure that all of you also don't answer now, right? Especially mobile phones, right? You prefer people texting you first, etc., right? So I think there's a change of preference in terms of how businesses or users are engaging us, right? I think as businesses also you need to change your style, right? You cannot keep on, using the same style like cold call all the time, right? So you need to engage different way through emails or through WhatsApp and so forth, right? I think that's key.
Yes.
As a user also you need to know, what are the potential abuse of the data, how people use your data and so forth. So you're well equipped when you tackle some of these issues.
Okay, so I think the person is trying to ask that if how do you make sure that data isn't even abused or or stolen, right? Because it can be individuals also, and I think like what Sabariah was saying, right? It's always one single weak link. Somebody can do something, right? Back that takes out his phone, right, or her phone, doesn't have to be a he, right? Her phone, and then just starts recording streams and streams of data. It's crazy how easy it can be. So it's really scary. But that's Husni's job to make sure that all of us can sleep easy when the policy, the next version of our PDP is out. Anyway, there's a question there from the gentleman wearing the nice batik shirt. Okay, name and maybe if you want to share the industry you're from, right, at least, and then what's the quick question?
Hello, my name is Ishaq. I am from social media industry. Okay, so I'm gonna, before this I work at a bank. So
okay.
I'm gonna give some scenario. One of the things that are really easy to abuse, all of us have it, IC number. Okay, so pretty much we all know our data, almost all Malaysian data has been sold in deep web. Almost, we can say all of Malaysian data.
Really, yeah? Wow, he's contending almost all our data has already been breached and it's already been sold to someone. And a few people are nodding, oh man, so scary.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then people can just know your date of birth, your place of birth, and then the additional 4 extra numbers in the end of your IC. So your date of birth, everybody in the office knows. Okay, so they can just ask you around where do you live, what is your place of birth. So they just have to know the extra 4 numbers at the end of the IC. So I want to say how severe the situation is, okay? In any bank practice, okay, they can just know your IC number, and then they can check your account, how many money you have in your account, how many investment, all of your investment, your credit score, all of it. This happens when in social media, when people have a beef with this person, they just expose everything. Or this person salary, this person this person that. Okay, so and the funny thing is, we always have to left our IC or our driving license at the guard.
Oh, yeah.
At the guard. Even the guard have to take the picture of it. That is already information abuse. So people can just step into it and just do anything with it. So my opinion is we need to have a new layer of security, a new identification.
Totally agree. Yeah.
Or if you cannot do this, we cannot implement this to all nations, we need to have an act. We need to have a law of people abusing this data or people exposing our data.
Correct.
Okay. So that's my opinion.
Sure.
Up to any of the.
Thank you very much. And I think Husni was addressing that. So let's get the next question first, and then maybe if somebody wants to quickly answer that, then we'll move on. Yeah. Again, young man, your name and.
Thank you so much for your insightful presentation. My name is Johnny. I'm a research associate in sustainability.
Research assistant.
Research associate in sustainability science at Asia School of Business.
Oh, okay.
I used to work in Maybank, Chief Data Officer Office, data governance intern there.
Oh.
So one question: so should corporation or data owner should be hold more accountable for the data breach in Malaysia? Actually, I have 3 different bank accounts in UK, in US, and Malaysia. So in this country, whenever there's a data breach there, your money is stolen, all this thing, and they will pay fully whatever happened. But in Malaysia, it seems that consumer are the one that bear a lot of this data breach there. So
very common complaint, I get.
All these things. So especially in GDPR, for example, I used to work, it means a huge sum of penalty for the corporation who fail to protect the data appropriately. So question is like, should they hold more accountable for our data breach there? Thank you so much.
Okay, no, fantastic, good. So, okay, hold on, yeah, there's a question from the front, but we'll let the audience answer, the panelists answer first, and then get the mic to the gentleman in the front first, then for you. Yeah, hold on. But anybody wants to take that?
Thank you very much,
Husni.
The gentleman. The two major issues, we take note of that, and those are some key areas that we are taking into consideration in the legal amendments and also in coming up with the new acts as well. I can still recall the gentleman. The gentleman got trapped. He was initially he got a WhatsApp message, and it leads to his personal details and account number and etc. So actually back then he posed the question directly to the Maybank BC. Yeah.
He actually he didn't say which bank though. So
okay.
Yeah. So to be fair, I think you're only using Maybank
directed to the banking sector.
Right. Yeah, banking sector.
So I think data trust, especially in the banking sector, is very important. It's very crucial to support the growth of digital economy. Currently, under the agenda of NDSP, we also organize a nationwide data sharing behavior research.
Behavior research. Oh,
yeah,
interesting.
It's a behavior research, just to gauge the level of awareness. It's actually based on 4 main components, based on the level of awareness, data governance, technology, and ecosystem. So it turns out that our baseline study reveals that the score for nationwide score for this first year of implementation of NDSP is just a little bit above average.
Oh, I'm surprised. I thought it would be below average.
But fair. They know we are not talking about them knowing the actual technical terms or things like that. But a lot more has to be done. That is why this is the national data sharing policy. It's a national initiative. Everyone has to carry the burden, has something to contribute to the initiative. Everyone has a role to play. Even business owners and I would like Dr. Karl to elaborate further.
Yeah, for business owners, I mean, I can tell you for a fact that's a fantastic fair question. If in the next iteration of the PDPA, they do not hold business owners accountable, right? If a data breach has cost you loss, then people will say the act is lousy, it has failed. That's going to be the reality. Dr. Karl, you have some insight on that?
No, I think even the existing laws under PDPA also, allows certain fine to be made if there's a breach, right? So I think ultimately the business owners are accountable. When you collect data, you need to make sure there's a proper governance and process in place and making sure that you comply to the act, right? So I think that the challenge here is what we call it, the policing and also enforcement of the act, right? So which is key. That's number one. Number two is also, I think, the public or potential people that are affected needs to file the complaint or file the report to the right party so that they are aware and they can take actions, right? So I think that those are key elements in making sure that everyone is accountable. I think ultimately it's, the citizen, the public, the users need to be well aware and to raise this as an issue, right? I think as more and more people raise this as an issue, and then people are more accountable and responsible, right? Similarly with, like sustainable practices as well, right? I think when people feel that things are happening, are not right around them, the climate is changing, you have floods every day, and it's sadly as well that, there are people also dying every day because of the climate changes. Like suddenly out of nowhere, a tree just fell to the car, right? And it happens every day now, right? Because of the rain, people get, knocked down and so forth, right? So it's affecting everyone. I think it is important that, to take actions. If things are affecting them, they need to raise these issues.
But just a quick question to again the young man's question, because I hear this a lot. Husni, are you able to answer him directly that in the next version of the PDPA, businesses will be held accountable if it's found that they were not good enough in their defense of customers' data?
Yeah, I believe so. I don't recall the actual provision, things like that. But definitely, we will follow the global standards, best practice, because you'll be surprised that actually, despite the incidents, I think Puan Sabariah could elaborate further, but our current ranking in global cybersecurity.
Oh, it's quite high.
Yeah, it's quite high. The latest was in 2020, I believe. Yeah, in 2020, we ranked 5th globally in terms of cybersecurity. So we're not that bad. Yeah. But of course, there are areas that we need to improve. And as pointed, I agree very much with the emphasis on the responsibility of business owners, especially tech companies and those who are managing our personal data.
Okay, very good. Thanks. So we'll take one question first, and I know, okay, 2 more, but before that, after this question, I'll just go to a question from the audience online, right? And then we'll come to the two of you and the 3 of you. Okay, you can sit down. Yeah.
Hello, I'm.
It's on.
I'm a journalist and associate professor at the university, and I'm a bit confused here because you have the word protection. Opposite is sharing. You protect on one hand, then you share on the other hand, and the government. So you have, and then you have another act coming, Freedom of Information Act. As a layman, I see national data sharing policy, and then creating shared value from our data. The how. I've been sitting here so long. What do you mean by? Can you illustrate and explain, elucidate to us? I'm sorry, some of you are data people, so I don't know what is data sharing. Does it mean like Tenaga National, for example, can you all give examples to the layman people like us? Does it mean like the Naga National can share its data with Maybank or whoever? So can you give examples of what is data sharing?
Yeah.
The how?
All right.
Thank you.
I'm going to try to illustrate the points. Why we are talking both about protection and also sharing, because it's interrelated. You need to have a secure environment. You need to protect personal data to establish a trusted ecosystem for data sharing. You know, you need to have the assurance that your personal data is protected. It will not be shared to the third party without your knowledge and things like that. And currently we have the standards to govern that. In order to do that, that is why we have the NDSP. NDSP is putting it all together. You know, the national policy simply states something like this. You know, the government is pro data sharing because it is important to spur economic growth, innovation, and data-driven decision making. You know, to improve the government services and service delivery to the people, like what they announced, the establishment of the centralized database or PADU for subsidies rationalization, for example. You know, in order to do that, you need to collect the data from the public and private sector. Currently, we have already several acts, for example, for Akta Perangkaan, for example, under the Statistics Act, they already have specific provision which empowers the department to gather data from even the private sector. But the Omnibus Act that the government is coming up with is even more extensive. It's to facilitate cross-sectoral data exchange. Currently, for example, Mampu has already established dedicated platform, secure platform for data sharing, like the my GDX, my Malaysian government data exchange platform, in order to enable government agencies to share their data safely and securely. Previously, back then, when everyone was so frightened by the OSA, you know that the harshest penalty could reach 1 million, if I'm not mistaken. So they were so frightened to exchange data that they refuse to share data.
Yeah, okay.
Sometimes they don't know how to.
Don't know how to.
As well. So these are the gaps that we need to fill in and to address. Currently, actually, we already have even ISO standard for data sharing. We already have an international framework at OECD level, for example, at UN level, and currently we are taking all that into consideration into revising our legal and regulatory framework within Malaysia. This will also involve other regulations under CMA, for example, because there are specific provisions under CMA which relates to, for example, traffic data and other relevant acts as well. So to give you one example, currently, just startups. Data is very important for startups.
Yep.
Currently, for those of you who want to try looking up for available data, just check out data.gov.my. 2.0 now has already been launched by the government. Now they already have that visualization which comes in very handy, a dashboard where you could look at the graph,
Okay.
and you could select some useful data that you can use for your business, for example. To your TNB example, for example, I will relate this to the establishment of PADU. PADU, for the establishment of PADU, or that centralized database under the Ministry of Economy, YB Rafizi, he wants to accelerate the establishment of GovTech. and he'll be looking into specific areas which the government could serve the people better. Yeah. For example, for subsidies rationalization, perhaps they could gather data from. Now they are gathering data from Pekeso, KWSP, you know, to establish real data of your income, so that you can no longer trick the government how much you are earning. So that whenever you apply for B40 entitlement or assistance, you know, for the unfortunate, for example, the government can straight away do a profiling and know that you are not entitled for this assistance. For example, subsidies rationalization, yeah, petrol subsidies, for example, KPDN would be looking at establishing a more targeted approach to save more money for the government.
Correct.
Looking at business owners, yeah. Although Malaysia has currently only one unicorn, I suppose.
Yeah.
I had the opportunity to engage with Google representative at ASEAN level. You know, the potential of data sharing across border is even more for businesses. Yeah, initially I remember asking this person from Google, what is the potential of startups in Malaysia expanding to neighboring countries, for example? She said that according to the Indonesian experience, it is very much, there is a huge potential because our common lifestyle, culture, you know, if you research into the local setting, I don't want to confuse you further, but for example, if the local government be willing to share, for example, their development plans for one particular area with business owners, you know, you would be able to strategize, and also if you can imagine, combine that with population data, you know, and a more specific and granular profiling, like say gender, age group, then you aspiring business owners, for example, you want to establish a franchise or a retail store at that new place, you can use analytics to pinpoint the exact location and what business would serve your best business interests, for example. Thank you.
Okay, so I think, hold on, I need to go to a question from online to give them a chance. So we've had 4 questions from the, 3 already from the floor. But just quickly also, when he says layman, most people are laymen. That's why this series has started, right? We're at ground zero. So I expect 99% of people to know 1% or less. So it's very, question that you have asked is very common. And when you say TNB, I'll answer you directly. TNB cannot share your data. Like I gave the example of the property developer, because of the existing PDPA, it already does not allow private businesses to share your data with others, right? Your data you have given them is for them only. And also, like I said, I think I shared the last time very quickly, one awareness that personally for me, when I have, when I want to access something or download, some information from some portal or whatever, right? They have terms and conditions. I am now maybe the 4% of people who actually read the terms and conditions. And the further, and I don't read, last time maybe you read page 1, page 2, then your eyes go blur, what the hell, all these legal speak, just agree, right? Yeah. I don't do that anymore. I'll go to page 9, 10, 11. And the further down you go, you'll get scared. And I say, no, I don't want, forget it, I don't need this information. So it's super frustrating because everybody wants to collect your data, right? They all want to collect your data. So that's why at the national level, there has to be very strict policies, right? Like in Europe now, the GDPR is coming after people, right? Fine you, Google and all that, they're getting fined. And that will scare everyone else. That's the only way this will work. And the car manufacturers also, by the way, when you said how safe it is, every car that we drive has gone through stringent safety procedures, right? And this is a 110-year-old technology, the car we drive. The procedures have been embedded for decades already, so we take it for granted. But when you come back to this, if you consider that awareness of data is like the car, we're probably in 1915. The car was Henry Ford made mass commercialization scale possible in 1914. This is only we're 5 years after it. We're in 1919 of using the car analogy. Still a long way to go, but the capacity of us to learn faster is incredible. We'll be able to learn, adapt, and change our behavior, right, much faster. And again, coming to events like this, asking questions, and maybe they didn't answer your question, you go back and say, the bugger salt didn't answer my question, I'm still more confused. And with you sharing with your friends, maybe one of your friends say, no, Christian, okay, no, this is what I know. And maybe from that discussion, you pick up 1% more. This is how it's going to go. No, there's no magic bullet. When PDPA 2.0 comes, suddenly we're all at the next survey they do, we're all at 60% awareness. So no, it's going to take time. But through these events, I think we're hoping to just accelerate it faster than it normally would be. Karl, I just got a question from you from the audience. Then we'll get to your question, right, that you want to ask. Sorry. And this is somebody asking, why is the need to register for the National Digital ID? Does that mean that eventually we can vote online for national elections also? So I'm only asking you this, and then I'll jump to the gentleman there, and then the one behind you. Yeah, sure.
Registration for national ID.
Yeah, the need for a digital ID. Yeah. So somebody wants to be convinced.
I think digital ID.
Oh, sorry, you also then hold on.
Right. Okay. Allows the person to be identified online and to be verified, authenticated, and making sure that it's the right person that's answering it, right? Owning that identity. Right? I think that's the whole premise for this. By doing that, we're able to ensure that the cost of doing business is lowered, because right now the way of authentication, it's different methods, right? Some people use mobile phone. But how sure are you that you are the owner of the mobile phone, right? And some people use various different ways to authenticate KYC, right? So by having a national one, you're able to reduce the cost of doing business. Everyone follow the same, right? So I think there's a whole idea around this, right? And we know who online, right? By using this. So as a Rakyat perspective, you're able to access all the different services by using a single identity, ID, right? So I think that's the whole idea around this.
Quick second part, can we eventually vote online also?
I think in some countries they're already doing it, right?
But
for Malaysia, for example, right? In Ukraine, for example, there's a war-torn country, and how they started this was they also have a digital ID. How they started this, it's getting everyone make driving license become digital, right? So force everyone to register online. They actually have a app for identification, right? So they use this app, right? Eventually, then they put in different services, and now because the population is all over the country, all over the world, but by using this app, they allow them to vote.
Anywhere in the world then, huh? Fantastic. Without having to go to the embassy, look for the Malaysian embassy wherever you are. So,
right, so you actually use the app.
It's interesting, right? Fantastic. So, okay, we've got a question from the gentleman. Okay, wait, the gentleman in the I know he put up his hand first here in the black shirt here. You just get the mic and pass to him first. Brother, just hold on, the gentleman behind you first, and then the gentleman behind him, and then to this gentleman, and then you at the back there, okay. And then that one there. Okay, I'm confused. Is this a 4-hour session? I hope this is a 4-hour session. Because got lots of questions coming in. Okay, sorry, sir. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, my name is Kan Kui. Yeah, I also one of the polling committee of the IPCMC. Okay, but now I realize that we cannot do against the police, and then last time I made the police report against the JDPTR. After that, somebody called me and then, why you make the police report? I order you immediately to cancel your report.
Seriously?
Seriously?
I got such thing one.
Yeah. And then who give my phone to the JDPTR fella? It is inside the police law means. And then I asking the government how to make the punishment against the police force who means share our data to the gangsterism, who share our data to the scammer, and then who is officer, government officer can set by the government and then put into the jail. I never seen that. Until now, I never seen that.
Okay, fair.
So, 2 years before this, the Facebook is hacked by somebody. After that, I take back the Facebook. But now, when I sharing, this is who and who. This is maybe the spy or intelligence inside the government. I want to know who is this person. I put the photo and the viewfinder and the luxury car, and then who is this? I put my post in my Facebook wall.
Okay.
After that, my Facebook wall will suddenly deleted.
That
and
one,
then who is do like this? Is MC do like this?
Yeah.
Or somebody
How
inside the government?
how fast after that was your this one deleted? How fast after that?
Maybe 1 hour.
Okay lah, 100%. I guarantee you, MC never moved that fast lah. Okay, impossible. I'll bet you 100 to 1.
Yeah.
1 hour, impossible. They
1
don't
hour,
work like
2
that.
hours.
Even 1 day, so no.
Yeah.
So, but it's a I'm not making
I
like
just ask,
no agency here works that fast, even in Singapore also. Okay, that's but it's very disturbing. I know that's very disturbing. That happened.
Who's the alpha? This one. I just asked who's the alpha, who's the viewfinder.
Okay,
And
interesting.
then this fella is is an umbrella to the gangster, umbrella to the scammer. Who is this? I just asked only. After that, my post deleted.
Amazing. Okay, we have no answer for that. Let me get the gentleman behind that. He may have another very interesting story to share. Thank you. And sorry about that, but I'm glad you shared that with us. Okay. And then the gentleman behind there, and then our gentleman here. Yeah. Okay. Oh, you're okay. Fine. Just your name and then your background, right? And then the question you have.
I might as well promote myself. Sorry, my name is Luke Raj. Hi, Karamjit. We've been in touch online. I asked very complicated question. I represent Ada Evolution. We are a subject matter in data privacy, providing training awareness to government and private sector. So I have a couple of questions which I wanted to bring up, especially, I think, other than Karl, I think I've met both of you in your good office. Now, my first question is cybersecurity. Yes, Sabariah. What is the major challenge cybersecurity is going through, minimizing data breach and hacking? That's my question to you. And what you all are doing about it? Because the most important thing that the consumers, they become the victim. Whatever explanation you all do, but we become the victim. One. To PDPA, very important question. We've been engaging pretty tightly. Does PDPA follow GDPR standard? You do. Does GDPR very clearly state that any awareness training program is supposed to be in dual language? It's supposed to be in English and our local language. But I see PDPA only promoting in Bahasa. So a lot of people are not clear what actually, who don't understand Bahasa well enough, does not understand what actually the training all about. So I propose or suggest that it should be going back to the gold standard of GDPR. Creating awareness and the training should be based on dual language so that everybody will understand. That's very important. Number third question. Sorry, yeah?
Okay. Whatever, your questions are short, so that's fine.
Okay, it's short. Based on my update until now, there's about 15 data breach take place in a month.
In Malaysia, you mean?
In Malaysia.
50,
right?
15
data breach. Now, most importantly, I wanted to thank CyberSecurity. Some or rather, they are more proactive in addressing, which is not their responsibility when it comes to data breach. It's the responsibility of PDPA to respond to data breaches. But we don't hear PDPA making any statement on data breach. So question is why? Do you have PDPA, does they have the capability? Do you have the know-how? And how many cases you all arrested over the years? As of now, I think I have the latest update, quite alarming to see the amount of data breach happening in Malaysia. But we don't see PDPA being proactive, addressing and commenting on the issue. I mean, in case of Tosco, PDPA have not made a statement on it. technically the commissioner have to make a statement, not cybersecurity have to make a statement on this.
All right, okay, 3 enough, brother. Okay.
One last question.
One, okay. 4, okay, but.
No, these are relevant questions, yeah?
Okay, the gentleman give you a thumbs up. So
now,
okay.
all 3 of you, last 2 questions, all 3 of you, because you all represent the government, you all will, I'm sorry, we are outsiders. You will be proactive supporting the government, even the government is wrong.
No, you are not outsiders. You are paying their salaries. You are not outsiders.
Oh, yeah.
They are working for you.
Yeah, you're right. Sorry. My question, any of you all can guarantee, or the government can guarantee, that our data is safe? Let's forget about digital ID and all that. All these are a lot of other things, but you can't guarantee our data is safe. Last question. Do you agree awareness is a crucial and training in minimizing data breach in cybersecurity?
Oh, okay.
These are the main questions. Thank you.
The last question will help your business lah. Since you're in trading, the last question is not a question. We're not going to answer that because the answer is obvious. But anyway, just quickly, so maybe, so I don't know if anybody wants to just comment on the gentleman's question about his account being, just suddenly data being wiped. It may be at a level that you cannot answer. You can suggest something to him. If not me, then we'll go on to the questions, that were asked also next. Okay, go ahead.
First of all, I myself can't say that I represent JPDP because I'm not from JPDP.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. But from
and there is a commissioner.
Yeah. From my knowledge, there were instances where even the minister issued a statement regarding data breach, but we have 1 or 2 recent ones. But looking at JPDP, you have to, as I mentioned earlier, it is they are currently undergoing strengthening of their structure as well. Currently, for your information, previously they only had like 30 people manning the station for the whole country. So now they are seriously looking into upgrading the capacity of it as an organization. I still remember previously in the previous administration there were even discussion. They were exploring whether to merge CSM and JPDP at one time. All in all, the government is looking to bolster the strength of JPDP, both their internal capacity and also getting the right people to come in and work at the strategic posts. I see a shift, a positive shift towards looking into the specific technical areas which you mentioned. Previously, I can see that they lack that bit of focus. Now they are focusing more on the legal amendments and also strengthening the internal capacity and also public awareness. As I said earlier, just for the amendment of the PDPA 2010, they organized hundreds of nationwide sesi libauros with target audience. I think I can send your message to the right people, even to the commissioner himself for his attention.
Okay, look, we are at 3:25. We're gonna let the young man have the last question. Yeah, Ken. But you still want? I thought you didn't want to anymore. Okay, no. The next question then actually to him first. Then him. Can you bring the mic here to the front? Sorry, then hold on. Okay, right, but just the mic for the audience at home. Yeah.
Good afternoon. My name is Alvin. I'm a PLC director. I got one very simple question to the panel.
Sorry, a PLC director. Okay, public sector.
Director. But I don't want to mention the name.
No, fine.
The thing is, I noticed our PFDA, PFDA is toothless tiger.
Is what again?
Toothless tiger.
Oh, toothless tiger.
They have to put that for show only. Sorry to say that. So far, there's no action taken to people who stole people personal data and abuse it. I came across one case, an employer.
Sorry, keep the mic closer.
No, the employer actually stole the employee family members' data and used it to camouflage the account. You know what the employer did, he stole the family data, use it to subscribe for EPF contribution. Then after that, he go and tell you, sorry, this is silap, then to back the money. So there's a loophole there, I know, because then the employee member complained to PDA, complained to police, because the employee is a gangster, licensed gangster. So police buat tak tahu. So investigate, cerita. EPF says we cannot take action because we got no lawyer. If you tapos hati, you sue their sendiri.
PDPS and that lah.
Yes.
Okay, fine.
Because I happen to be a lawyer at training.
Okay.
I'm trying to help the family. I'm not training, I'm not a practicing lawyer.
Okay.
I got partner practicing lawyer. So that's what they tell my partner lawyer. Ini ya PD karut ni. Then he can put in record. Hey, jangan. So I want to comment from you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So the question. Wait, one more. Okay, push it at the back there for two people, and then the young man here will get the last question. But also, hey, by the way, I think because there was also a question on earlier. The gentleman who asked 4 questions. Right? One was that about it's not cybersecurity's job to actually share the data. But so and he said that I think the data commissioner, right, their department are not doing their job in a way, right? That's what he's saying. So that's a given fact. That's fine. But will the PDPA next version that comes out improve on this? Because I heard you mention also the communication will be improved and all. Will all these problems be hopefully now no more? Just in the past, looking in the back mirror, or it won't tackle this pain point that the rakyat are feeling?
I think the answer is yes.
So the PDPA will handle all this lah. So
of course, because I think the way I see it currently, what's just to share the progress of the amendments and the process of development of the acts. Actually, we are looking to fill in the gaps as well. This is also the role of the NDSP. We are also coming up with guidelines. And in terms of amending the acts and coming up with a new legal framework, we tend to look at providing a holistic perspective, so that we want to ensure that we got all areas covered. For example, if need be, for example, for the Omnibus Data Sharing Act, I can still remember that JPDP emphasized the need to include best practice in the protection of personal data as well, because that's the requirement of the GDPR. So we'll be looking at providing the safeguard and a holistic approach, together also with the FOI team. I think next year we are planning. They are planning to organize collective and well integrated nationwide roadshow.
And engagements like this, right?
Okay. Engagements like this.
So just one more quick question, because you mentioned that the communication should be in English and Bahasa. Will the next version have both languages also? Version 2 for the PDPA?
Yeah, should be.
It will be, right? Or will be or should be?
It should be. It will
already
be.
have. So it's already in 2 languages. So since you know the gentleman better, enlighten him, because it is in 2 languages. Then okay, that's good. Okay, now we're gonna just move on to the the gentleman at the back, and then the gentleman in the orange t-shirt, and then he's the last one, and then you are the last lah. Okay. By the way, because we already passed the closing time, some people have like, if you need to leave, please do. We apologize for keeping you longer than necessary, but it's your peers who are keeping us here because they've got questions to be answered, right? So hopefully you see some value in the question that they are asking and the question and how we are answering questions also. Okay, young man.
Okay, hi. My name is Chang. I'm one of the entrepreneur. So actually,
entrepreneur. Okay.
Entrepreneur. So my question is directly to this data sharing. Yeah. So I also understand from one of the panelists now mentioned that we can now access some shared data from data.com.my, right?
No, data.gov.
Data.gov.my. But if let's say if you want to access to very specific data, let's say example, give you an example. I want to access to like Malaysian diabetes clinical data. Yeah. But not personal data. We don't need the name, we don't need the IC number and all these things. How can we access to those data? I mean, the how, yeah, exactly like today's topic. Right?
Nice, thanks. Okay. And then Diana, the mic to the gentleman there. Okay, you want to take that? Dr. Karl.
I take this. Okay, so diabetes data, right? So number one, it's diabetes. Is it NCD? Okay, so non-communicable disease, right? Right, yeah, NCD, right? So I think for certain data, statistics possible if you're able to get access to anonymized data, right? If the people that's holding the data, in this case, may not even be MOH directly because the private sectors don't report to MOH in terms
They don't,
of
yeah,
numbers.
of course
They
not,
don't,
yep.
Right? Maybe some government hospitals, maybe some of them may share, right? But may not be holistic, right? Some of this data may be available by, by MOH, but you need to request for this.
Need to request
You
it,
need to
okay.
request, right? I think you need to file a request, right? And they need to look at the policy and whether or not this is something shareable.
Okay.
Possible, yes.
Okay, after this, come up and see. You got the right man here, okay? All right. Okay, now let's just move on. By the way, I put this here for a reason. When I wrap up, I'll just say, okay, brother, your questions, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Anand Soranam. Just my question is to authority. In terms of authority, in terms of rule and regulations, okay? How is it the authority looking onto data mining and data segmentations, where verifications, compliance, and authorization can answer what is asking also? Okay, that's the first question. Second is, the government is now pushing onto Open RAN because connectivity is the fundamentals on digital transformation, or you talk about IR 4.0. Okay, means a lot of human players will be coming in. How the government is going to monitor and compliance. Okay, lastly, all this data, in terms of you're looking into bigger picture as ASEAN, which will be centralized towards the government platform. How is it in terms of shared value can benefit togetherness? Thank you.
You get the three questions for all of you. But the second question, just repeat that because I didn't get the second question about the equipment maker.
No, Open RAN, government is pushing on.
Open RAN, as in the RAN, is it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So, Husni, do you want to take the question? And if Karl, you can jump in and answer some of that, that'd be great. Oh, okay, Husni is quickly telling Karl you answer.
Okay, so answering the last question, like from ASEAN level, right? The interest on data sharing. There's an initiative within ASEAN that looks at open data, right? So if you look at the ASEAN perspective, the maturity level of each different countries, even in terms of data sharing, open data is basic. That means sharing open data is still not there across ASEAN, right? So a lot of work needs to be done to build up, making sure that the awareness level and the policy and the act, it's aligned within ASEAN. So the harmonization is important, awareness and work around this is important, right? So what you are requesting, I think from a vision standpoint, yes, we should work towards that. But implementation perspective, it's quite an ad hoc basis, right? For example, one example is e-invoicing, right? E-invoicing started, the one that the standards based on the Europe, it started in Singapore first, right? And Singapore actually was promoting this and educating Malaysia and need to have this, and then we decided, the government decided to move forward to adopt similar standards, right? So that there will be harmonization between Malaysia and Singapore, right? So eventually, two countries, and then of course we look at the third country, fourth country, and so forth, right? Things will happen gradually, but it starts with one by one, right? From that standpoint.
Can I add on to Yeah, because many are a bit pessimistic about the ASEAN way, right? But please bear with us. Actually, there are some significant headway at ASEAN level as well. Yeah, yeah. Because currently, very recently, this year, right? I think Shafiq attended that regional consultation for ASEAN Data Dictionary. They're actually coming up with a common data dictionary at ASEAN level. So standardized categorization and classification to facilitate cross-border data exchange. And I also I've been participating in free trade agreement negotiations, and we see,
FTAs, I mean.
yeah,
Okay.
FTAs, and in recent years, very recently, you have specific articles on data sharing. Some are very specific, like we are currently negotiating the IPAF, the Indo-Pacific, also ASEAN Canada and ASEAN China. These countries are proposing collaboration on specific areas, like China is proposing collaboration for big data and also data analytics. And very specific areas in supply chain management and also logistics. They are sharing best practices, you know. But of course, ASEAN way means consensus. It's based in consensus.
Japanese style.
So it will take time, just like it was explained by Dr. Karl. Some of the more advanced ASEAN countries is driving the process. Malaysia, Singapore, increasingly Vietnam, and Indonesia, because they have unicorns, they have tech startups. Yeah? So yeah, there are positive developments and move towards an ASEAN-wide data sharing framework that is business friendly.
Of course, the respective countries will move faster, right? Singapore is a global, it's a global, it is a global city in ASEAN, Southeast Asia, and you can see them setting the benchmark for many of things. But like you were saying, in cybersecurity, we are surprisingly not far behind in the global ranking, right? In terms of policy and government's awareness of what needs to be done, you could say that we have not acted on the policy, like I said, toothless, right? Fair comment, right? But all these criticism and comments you're sharing, right? A channel back and feedback, and the top people take it very seriously. And by the way, I think Husni was here at the episode 6, right, when the gentleman was sharing, and it was very uncomfortable for him to hear that, but yet here he is now sitting on the panel in front, right, willing to take your questions and your bullets from you. That shows there's been a sea change in mindset to listen to the rakyat and try to deliver what needs to be done. So give him a small round of applause, because I was surprised he turned up. And by the way, 3 days ago he told me, Karam, I'm coming down with the flu, I think. I say, hey, health and family first always. But if you can, and here he is today, okay? So obviously drank a lot of Ribena, or I think, what is it, your honey, a lot of honey, and then to be here today. So great. Okay, last 2 questions for you. You are the last one, lady. Not the gentleman here first, the young man wanted. Sorry, brother, you got to ask it to them personally. There's way too many questions. We already way gone past time. I'm only allowing it because today is the last one in the series, and Dr. Karl has to go to the airport, I think, also. So correct. And sorry, Karl, if you need to leave, please can, and maybe okay, fantastic. Thank you. Okay, young man, your question then. Second last question, then yours. Should be on.
Hello. Yeah. Hello. My name is Dinesh. I'm a law student. So I just wanted to know, what if I think cybersecurity relates very closely. I mean, like the main thing is ethical hacking, right? Like that's the substance that they learn. So what if they turn bad and someone offers them something bigger and they go into the hacking side of it and they can't be traced and they can't be found? Will the government or Cybersecurity Malaysia be liable, and will they compensate for losses that are made, if at all such instances happen? That's all.
Since you asked about cybersecurity again, and then Husni, you can take that also, I think more suitable. And Karl, if you want to jump in, can. And then the young lady there, I guess the last say.
Okay, CyberSecurity Malaysia is just a technical agency. We are not bound by any legals, liabilities. So our role is actually to assist of the regulator in the case of crimes to collect data, forensic data. We are actually help the legals authority to strengthen our cybersecurity. If any incident do happen, it always go back to the root cause, where the cause of these issues arise. It can be from the negligence, it can come from the poor of the regulation, the governance. There are many factors that we can consider, but bottom line, we will have to learn from this lesson to further strengthen our security by even from the governments, from the public sector, private sector, even for the individuals. Everybody is actually have the share responsibility in this manner.
Husni, do you want to take that? Or Karl, the young man? Good question, by the way.
Question, but if someone commits crime, he's liable and accountable to the process of the law. You know, we have.
No, but I think he was also saying that if the criminal cannot be traced because bad occur, right? Then who's still responsible? Yeah, in that sense.
Who's still responsible?
You cannot find the actual person, right?
It's subject to subject to the case of leakage, and it's subject to investigation. Of course, I think one of the areas that we should address the intricacies and complexity of the cyber world, if you may. And we have to address that now we are. I recently attended a regional conference in Seoul. They held a regional conference on digital compact, talking about digital public goods and sort of establishing a global framework for discussing issues like this, addressing the gaps in regulating AI, for example, and data sharing, in which even the UN, through its tech envoy, is planning to organize a global tech summit next year in September to discuss this at the highest level. So because issues like this require a whole of government approach, whole of society approach, and cross-border cooperation, both in terms of governance, information sharing, and also collaboration among the enforcement of the state parties. So it's developing.
Okay, great. So I think young man, you should get Husni's number and invite him to be a speaker at one of your law school sessions also, right? Very important, right? And can have a no holds barred, back and forth, right? It'll be great for him because it's awareness for you and your peers and your lecturers also, right? So do that, please. Very good. Thank you. Now, finally, the last question, to the lady, and then I will just do a 45-second wrap up.
All right. Thank you. My name is Adriana. I'm in the industry is consumer.
Consumer. Okay. FMCG, you mean?
Just leave it as consumer.
Consumer. Okay. Mysterious lady, man. Wearing the mask and consumer industry. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Anyway, I'm attached with a non-profit. So, so we do have engagements with the government. It's just I think last month we had one engagement with other stakeholders, but not with the regulator involved in the industry we're in. And our concern is the regulator wants to come up with a new, everything is digital now, right? Yep. So submission of certain information from consumers is now, they expect it to be digital submission. But our concern is when we went into the website of the regulator, not a GLC, this is fully government, we can actually go to the website and Google other interesting things from their website. So I suppose, I don't really have a question, but well, I do have a question. How exactly, don't you go around the ministries and make sure that their websites are
best practices,
secure?
Right? Yeah. Okay, very good question.
Thanks.
Coincidentally, yesterday or day before, because my life is
because-
so boring, I went to the Singapore Foreign Ministry website to look at Q&A from their minister, right, at an international conference. So they had his transcripts there. And then suddenly I noticed up there at the website, at the top left corner, next to the URL, there was a link to say, how do you know that this is a Singapore government website or whatever? I said, wow, that's amazing, man. I didn't click on that, but it's trying to reassure you that this is a legit, and it's such a boring website, right? The foreign ministry, all the speeches, but they still.
Our concern is because the stakeholders involved would like the regulators to buff up the system first.
Up the game, of course,
before imposing the
to go
consumers
digital.
to submit information, because these are not just simple information. These are legal obligation information that no third party should have access to. So our concern is it could be open to abuse, because industry at the moment is already, there's a lot of abuse, even analog way.
Fantastic, very good. Real example, right? Okay, does anyone want to answer? And even Karl, if you're jumping, fantastic question. And then we're going to end after this, right? So anyone take this question? Okay, cybersecurity expert first.
Well, what I can say is actually be aware of these phishings with these social engineering techniques. Okay, sometimes it cannot be avoided, but what we can do is we can take precaution steps, be worried about this approach before we click any links. Something that we have to come back to ourselves is actually we have to be objective and also be be cautious and stingy in terms of sharing our informations. Okay, some of these links actually it actually play with your psychology, with your emotions. It looks attractive. It looks kind of urgent. It looks like legit and very important. So this is something that awareness, learning, it has to be continuously be there.
Okay, I think my answer,
But
the right
specifically,
answer to this is
about the
basically-
website, right? Not giving you
so-
peace of mind.
Right, so I think the best is write to the highest authority of that regulator, right? Highest authority there, and voice your concern and give example why you say so, right? If it's a formal letter sent, they will need to respond, right? I think that's the best, because you have a concern, write to the authority.
That authority, right? And send one email, one follow-up. Your third follow-up says that I'm going on social media, and you know, if they don't do that, right? Oh, okay, I see. Okay, fine. But I don't, because I tell you, especially the ministers are very sensitive to getting whacked on, so by the rakyat, okay, on the netizens. So you can use that if your logical and a fair option route you're taking, not getting you results. Okay, Husni? Oh, then Husni is also saying yes. So what do you want?
The government is talking about the way forward is towards participatory democracy, right? It's about getting all of you involved in the policy making, so to improve service delivery and all. Of course, we have under the current government setup led by Mampu, the agency which is in charge for development of ICTs. They have certain standards, security standards to be met, and for example, under the star rating, or currently they're calling it MyGPI, right? Government performance indicators. So even the security standard of government portals are supposed to be evaluated yearly.
Okay.
So
supposed to be keyword. Okay.
Yeah, they are being evaluated.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah. So some of the ministries also comply to ISMS, international standard. or information system. So yet they have the standards, but where you have standards, you also have to link it to compliance, you know, and sometimes inputs from outside, you know, from the consumers is very much appreciated.
Yeah, very
especially when it involves your interests, you know, your personal data. Wherever before you share something with anyone, not just the government, but with anyone else, you need to be clear about to share or not to share. Do your own personal risk assessment first, you know. So yeah.
Okay. So that's good. There is a mandatory yearly assessment, right, of all government websites. So if they, I know you're skeptical, but if, like Karl said, it is yearly. If some were missed, right, that's you play your role, right, to, like you said, bring it up to the right authority. But one key takeaway I want for all of you is that, remember the PDPA now, it's going to be, there's version 2 is now going to be shared with your members of parliament, which means your representatives, right? So please check with your MP's office, say, hey, you know, and you got to, of course, it'll be available on the website also for you to read up. If there are any issues or clauses that concern you, go to your local member of parliament's office, right, rep, go and see them and express your concern, because that feedback will go up to them. And even better, not one person, maybe 2 or 3 of you go, right, and say, hey, I'm concerned about this, or how come this, and for the mandatory punishment that if a bank or an institution, right, has been breached and I have been the person losing out, they should be compensating me fully like it's global practice. I don't see in this regulation. Please include that or don't support this, right? Exercise your rights as citizens, which is why these panels are being held, right, to create awareness. If they just wanted to pass this, we would not have all this, and suddenly it says undang-undang. You have an incredible opportunity to be part of the process, right, and play your role, right? Please, all of you, take that opportunity. Yeah, it is incredible. And one more thing, I just shared with you this because yesterday night somebody is saying, hey, you're attending this and you're talking, right? Will my avatar in the metaverse be protected by the government? I say, hey, what do you mean? He said, at some point, definitely you can interact with the government in the metaverse, right? Maybe you go and see the PDPA officer, you just put on if you can afford one of these, or you can go to a desktop version and you can interact with an officer there and you are represented in an avatar of your own likeness. So who will protect my avatar if it's breached, right? If it's stored in the government? I say, wow, that's like a far out question, right? But people are thinking of that, right? And that's great. Not for them to answer, but I'm just glad that people are thinking like that. So there's a consciousness of being a bit more aware of your security, your rights, you know, in the virtual world, which is almost on parallel with the real world we live in. It's so insane. So that's the new reality, yeah. But the other reality is that the 4 of us now are going to express our thanks to all of you who are still here or watching by applauding you for staying here. You don't clap, we are going to clap for you. Thank you so much for incredible. With that, now we're going to end the session, and please network or get the card. Young man, get the card from Husni, right? And the rest of you should.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam perpaduan, salam Malaysia Madani. I'm pleased to share a groundbreaking initiative that is shaping the future of our nation, the National Data Sharing Policy, or NDSP. In 2022, the government launched the NDSP, a visionary policy that transcends boundaries, encompassing the public sector, the private sector, and the rakyat. This policy holds the key to fostering a data sharing environment that is not only conducive, but transformative. It aims to unleash the true potential of data, improve the quality and transparency of service delivery, stimulate innovation, and drive economic growth through data-driven solutions. The formulation of NDSP envisions a nation where data knows no bounds, where its accessibility and usability are at the core of our digital landscape. By actively engaging in this endeavor, we are laying a strong foundation for the next evolution of our digital ecosystem. We're embarking on a journey to build a stronger and more secure digital foundation for Malaysia. It is the keystone of our digital transformation agenda, empowering us to become a more inclusive, resilient, sustainable, and forward-thinking nation. embracing responsible and ethical data sharing will unlock significant value for our society and economy, enhancing our competitiveness on the global stage. I encourage all of you to support this policy and explore the vast opportunities that data sharing presents. To raise awareness and gather valuable feedback, we have initiated the NDSP series, a collaborative effort by the Malaysia Digital Economy Corporation, or MDEC, Malaysia Kini, and Digital News Asia, or DNA, with the support of the Ministry of Communications and Digital. This series aims to educate the public about the benefits and challenges of data sharing, while gathering opinions and suggestions to enhance the policy and its implementation. Your active participation in these discussions will be instrumental in shaping the data sharing practices in Malaysia, leading us towards a secure and dynamic digital world. And let us embark on this remarkable journey together.